Could the film Manhattan by Woody Allen be made today? Hey, good evening, everyone. John Henry. Good evening, I said. Wow. I just had a show last night, so I think I'm still on that show. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, John Henry Soto here. It is 7 a.m. in the morning, and it is June 16th, 2021. Thank you very much for watching. Appreciate everybody in the last couple of weeks. I've been getting more engagement and more people watching, which is really awesome. I appreciate that. If you like that, if you like these morning little conversations, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends. Share the page. Share the thing, whatever you're watching it on, and I would appreciate that very much. Thank you so much. So this week, I decided to kind of do movies. I'm a filmmaker. I love making movies, and I thought, let me just make some films. I've done a lot of things on music. I've done some stuff on film, but I wanted to make a whole week of some of my favorite films, right? And Monday we covered Goodfellas. Yesterday we covered Prisoner of Second Avenue, and today we're gonna cover Manhattan by Woody Allen. And the interesting thing about Manhattan is sometimes when I first watched it, I just thought it was just a film. I wasn't going too crazy on it. Um, but now, because of the current state of the way the world is, or not really necessarily the world, just a few group of people that make a lot of noise. Um, the premise of the film Manhattan, you would kind of raise your eyebrow at if you had that premise. I mean, even if just by reading the description of the little preview of what the film's about, it says the life of a divorced television writer dating a teenage girl is further complicated when he falls in love with his best friend's mistress. So that sentence right there is so much wrong going on in that whole world. First of all, he's writing for television. I'm just kidding, but that's television in 1975, right? Which was when this film. I'm sorry, this film came out in 1979. So this film came out and was a hit film. People really liked it. I really love this film. I think it's one of those films that captures a moment of New York City. And it's a black and white film. Woody Allen decided he chose black and white to go with the film. Um, and Manhattan is one of those films that had a lot of people in it that became, you know, like Meryl Streep was in this. Meryl, Hemingway, of course, Diane Keaton, of course. Um, she had been in Annie Hall, um, and you find these moments in this film that really, for me, actually inspired me to write my film that I wrote called The Coffee List, which was a short film. And it sort of had sort of the idea of an older man dating or being interested with a younger woman, not a teenager. So I didn't go that far down, but I wanted to write something interesting of that dynamic, because sometimes you'll meet someone a lot younger, and you totally connect with that person, and I'm not talking of a relationship sexual type. I'm talking about just somebody that you meet, it could be, a younger man or a younger woman or just a younger couple. um you immediately kind of get a good vibe, and as an older person, you gel, you click, and that can happen with anybody, that can happen. I mean, there's a certain limit, obviously, right? He fell in love, or I don't think he was really in love, but he had a much younger woman that he was interested in, and you could see them walking here. It's Woody Allen and Meryl Hemingway, Diane Keaton, um, and Michael Murphy. I always forget his name, but there that's the one of their scenes. Now, I'm a little, Woody Allen kind of, you know, not really looks like me, but he's short, he's got glasses, balding, um, so I can identify, I guess, with some of his dilemmas. He's a writer, so some similar stuff that I can identify with, with Woody Allen. This is him with Meryl Streep looking beautiful. She looks amazing in this film. Um, and he's this is his ex wife, I believe, in this film. I haven't seen this in a long time. I couldn't even find it to view it anywhere, so I don't know why. But Meryl Streep in this one of her much earlier films, um, and of course the beautiful Diane Keaton, who they dated back in Woody Allen and Diane Keaton dated back then, and she was in many of his films, and always had just a great performance. I think you meet those actors, right? That they kind of just gel, and I keep saying the word gel today this morning. It's a gel kind of a morning. So, but you have these directors and writers kind of really blending really well with an actor. Yesterday we spoke about Neil Simon, right? Well, Neil Simon has used like Walter Matthau in a couple of films, Jack Lemmon as well, and and then you come back. Martin Scorsese is used De Niro and Joe Pesci in a lot of films. Um, and it just works. Everybody on set, can really make it work. And I think Woody Allen has that ability where he finds somebody that he knows it's going to work. And lately, it's been Scarlett Johansson, right, where he's used her quite a bit in a lot of films, and she's fantastic. I love her. So he knows how to pick them. Um, so of course, there's a lot of controversy behind Woody Allen as well. I'm really just focusing on his film work, um, just the actual images that he shot, the words that he wrote, and the film that he directed. This is what I'm mainly focused on, and of course, there's the famous shot where he's talking about New York City and he loves it. And now this is 1975, so New York City was not in its heyday. You know what I mean? It was in a rough position in 1975. The city was broke. I mean, 1979, the city was having some real financial difficulties. There you have the bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge, um, and it was really not. But Woody Allen just loves New York. He loves everything about New York. He's always lived in New York. He started shooting again in Europe, only because of the investors in America were getting wanting to get into his films, like to make suggestions and to move things around. And he doesn't work that way. He works on his own. He doesn't take any suggestions from people. And I kind of understand that it's difficult when you're putting stuff together, and you have a vision in your mind, and somebody comes in and says, "Why don't you do this? I think that would work better." Kind of ruins it. So he just says, he says, "Listen, bring the money in a brown paper bag, give it to me, and I will turn over a film to you within a year." And that's how he works, and that's how he's done almost 50 films, 50 years of filmmaking of films. So pretty amazing that those are his films. A lot of people say, well, he only did 50 films. I'm like, you don't understand. He wrote, directed, cast, edited 50 films. A lot of people are in a lot of films because they're in other people's projects, right? So you'll have somebody who's in three films a year. That's a little different. So my film, which was called The Coffee List, and with the beautiful Casey McDougal, I played a college professor named Mr. Thompson, Professor Thompson. And I was a college professor, and a young lady who was one of my students graduated and decided to try to get me to have a cup of coffee with me. She was interested in me. and this is one of our scenes together, and we had a great time shooting this. At the time, it did, and even today, I don't look at it like there was anything inappropriate about our film. I thought it was a lot of fun, and Casey is wonderful. Casey and I have worked together numerous times in a bunch of different films. She's amazing. She's great. She moved to Los Angeles and is doing really well over there in California these days. And but we did. She was in another film I did called Tracy on the Bench. She did another film. I was in one. I was in her series called Holding, which was I did, I think, 2 episodes of a web series she did, which did really well also. And I can't think of anything else we worked together, but we did a few other things, and we did a podcast for about a year. We did a couple of shows. We did about 40 shows on a podcast, which was a lot of fun. We had some guests on there as well. Very early on for us in that space, we didn't really have a lot of too much knowledge of what we were doing, but we had a lot of fun. And so she's one of those people that as soon as if I can get the funding for something, I would put her into I would get her into all my films, all my projects. So she's that for me. A couple of other people that I've met throughout the years here, um, that you get. But let me just talk about Manhattan, right? So anyway, the premise of the film. Woody Allen plays a guy named Isaac. He's dating a girl named Tracy. She's played by Meryl Hemingway. Meryl Hemingway. I said Meryl. Meryl Hemingway is, I think in the film, I think she plays like a 17-year-old or something. So he's really playing. He's like in his 40s or something, going through obviously some crisis. She is very, very well educated. She's has a good head on her shoulders. Meryl Streep is the ex-wife, and Michael Murphy has a is married and falls in love, and Michael Murphy has a mistress played by Diane Keaton, and Woody Allen meets Diane Keaton, Michael Murphy, as they're all going out, and Woody Allen falls in love with Diane Keaton. So now he's not only dating a teenage girl, but he's also now in love with his friend's um, mistress. so so it's kind of a mess ensues, and a lot of stress, and he hates his job. He's writing he's writing for television, which back in 1979 was not, it was a little bit of a fluff. It was this film was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, and Muriel, it's hard to say that name, Hemingway. She was nominated for a Best Actress supporting role, and also Woody Allen was nominated for a Best Screenplay, for him, and also Marshall Brickman, who co-wrote the with him. Um, Won a bunch of awards and all over the world and stuff, and they won the BAFTA award, which is a big award. Best film, best screenplay, best actor, best, won a bunch of stuff. They were nominated, actually, I should say nominated, but did win best screenplay. And so the film is, Woody Allen films are very character driven. They're narratives. They're kind of like the films that I like to do. I think one of the reasons I like to do these films is because they're inexpensive. All you have to do is, if you have to write a good story, though. You have to write a good story. That's the big thing. If you don't write a good story, then it's pointless. Work on the story first and really make sure you have a good arc, and that it makes sense, and that it brings people on a journey, and that you have little surprises here and there, and that you make people feel, um, even sometimes you can make people feel even angry at characters, even though the characters are the protagonist of the story. You can upset the audience with their decisions, right? Even if if you like them, but you're like, oh, why is he doing this? Why did he say that? And it's one of the things I did. This is my latest film, and on that day, starring Henry Packer. And when I wrote this, I had a couple of lines on it that were a little tough, and I was kind of like, "Am I want to say that to somebody?" And then I thought, yeah, because it's not me saying it; it's this guy. It's his frustration of having worked in this place. And you see the film; it's a guy who, on his last day of work, decides to make some changes, um, and he gives this monologue towards the middle of the film, and he says some things that are a little tough, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, but he's frustrated. It's been a long time that he's been holding this in, so he has to say it. It has to be tough. It has to be rough. And it might make people a little bit upset about that, or it may actually make people laugh. I don't know, but it depends. But that's kind of like when you watch Woody Allen in this film. He's such a sleaze, right? um he's got this young teenage girl, then he's got his ex-wife, and then he's got the mistress of his friend that he's in love with. So he creates these entanglements, and he has these different emotional, you know he attaches different emotions to this character, and he brings people along on a journey that they kind of are sort of like, this guy is a mess, but that's fine because I mean he generally plays neurotic guys, right? And it's kind of what he does the best, right? And so this is no different than that. But within this, there's some beautiful shots, beautiful writing. The writing is hilarious, very very funny. All the performances, obviously, I mean these are the top actors that you have at that time. Today, most of them are still, all of them are actually still kicking and doing really well. um, and I think that it's one of those films that people don't really talk about. I think because the subject matter is a little bit risque. um, Things have sort of changed in the last you know few years, maybe even 10 years. Not for the better, in my opinion. I think they've gotten a little bit to they push people to create what's going to be accepted and not what they really feel of writing. And I don't really want to be that person. If I never make a dime in my films, I don't really care. I'm going to make them the way I want to make them. And that's it. Someday people will watch them, on YouTube or whatever service is available on a blockchain, on my blockchain. They'll watch it. And hopefully they'll get a little entertainment out of them. But I think that when you're writing and when you're being creative, you have to be able to have the freedom to communicate with the characters as you feel, as the situation calls for. There's nothing worse than a film of just everyone just doing the right thing, right? There's a conflict in film, right? That's what film is about. That's why we watch them, because we want to see somebody in a situation and how do they resolve it, and how did they get into that mess to begin with, and what decisions they made along the way to get themselves into that decision, into that situation. Did they make decisions based on other people around them, or did they base it on themselves? There's all these different things that you can mess around with when you're writing a film, that if you're aware that this is going to get canceled because of whatever you're writing, um, and you're writing around that idea to not get canceled, well, you really tend to lose. You're losing. You're not, first of all, you're not creating an original piece of work. You're creating a piece of work that's meant for other people's satisfaction, not for your own, and not even for the story. You have to move the story forward, and you have to do things that are um that the character, even if it's risque and it makes people kind of cringe a little bit, you have to make those decisions because that is what the character is. That is who the character is. So you can't deny the story. Don't deny your own creative abilities just because a small group, by the way, a very small group of people that try to go around canceling others. Very small group, by the way, very small group. They just have a loud voice. They just talk loud and they make ridiculous points. So anyway, I don't want to get into the whole spectrum of the political world, which not really politics, is more of a just this weird cancer culture that we're living in right now. A film like this, you start wondering, could this be put out today? Because you have a lot of but then again, I look at what MTV is showing on some of these, you know, pregnant teenager shows and these reality shows that have much more crazier content than some of these films. So I think it depends. I think there's a lot of filmmakers out there who don't care about cancer culture. Quentin Tarantino comes to mind. He's going to make the film that he wants to make. And if you don't like it, you know what he's going to tell you. You know what he's going to tell you. Scorsese does the same thing. The greats, the great filmmakers of our time are going to make films. Even today, they're going to make the films that they want to make, not the films that are going to be accepted in society, or at least to those mental cases in society that try to cancel everyone for every little thing. Just ridiculous. I just heard recently that they're trying to cancel Lin Manuel for his new film In the Heights, which I saw yesterday. I saw the just the 8-minute trailer that they had, like a preview, the first 8 minutes on YouTube, and it was so good. I was so happy that they took this wonderful piece of music and story that I identify with, having grown up in the Bronx. I grew up in that environment. Exactly what those songs say. That was me. That was me and my friends. I mean, it was just an amazing, amazing story. And then to translate it from what I saw, the 8 minutes that I saw, and I haven't watched it yet because I'm waiting for a few things that I'll be announcing next week. But as soon as um, I saw that trailer, and as soon as I felt it, they did such a great job. But of course, he was almost canceled because they said that he didn't cast a black person in the lead role. I'm like, but that's not what it's about. It would change the whole song. Most of the songs are about him being born, being in the Dominican Republic and being raised in Washington Heights. What? What? Do you have a mental disability that you can't think with the idea that the story is not about that? It just kills me. It cracks me up. So anyway, he's obviously did his thing. The film is great. Shoved it right up there, whatever. And it's a great piece of art. And I think that he did it exactly the way he should have done it. He stayed true to the story. And from what I saw, again, I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but he created the mood, I should say, that the music and the musical made you feel, you know, the story, what it made you feel. And as I said before, and I'll always say it on this show, Maya Angelou's quote: people will not remember what you did or what you said. They'll always remember how you made them feel. So make people feel good. All right, folks. Want to thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you all so much. You have no idea. Please, if you like what I do here every morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Fridays, please like, share, and subscribe. Um, Tell your friends that there's this little Puerto Rican dude that comes on in the morning and he talks smack for about 30 minutes. Um, and hopefully give a little inspiration and a little bit of a smile to your faces as you begin your morning and start your day. All right, folks, I want to thank you all. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Make today great. Do the things that you love. Take care of yourselves. And as always, peace.